Hi, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Have a seat. Anywhere is fine. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to be your new teacher today. My name is Danielle. And I'm going to be teaching you Introduction to Dutch. Okay, so this is your first lesson in Introduction to Dutch. I hope that everyone is in the right place. If you aren't, now is the time to. Okay, good. Well, so as I said, I'm going to be teaching you Intro to Dutch or Nederlands. Okay, so Nederlands. Okay, so like I said, my name is Danielle. In Dutch, you would say Daniela. Okay, so that is in correct Dutch, Daniela, though a lot of people drop the last E, but that's not how I prefer it. So Daniela is the name. Okay. So I'm born and raised in Belgium. This means that the Dutch I'm going to be teaching you is going to be in the Flemish accent. Okay? So I speak Dutch, but my accent is Flemish or Vlaams. So it's entirely the same language. It just sounds a little different. Okay? Now, could everyone just quickly make a name sign? Just grab a piece of paper that you have and write your name on it and fold it, please. Okay? Please use like a dark colored pen or marker so that it's easy for me to read them all. Okay, good. Does everyone have some paper or can I? Okay, no problem. There you go. There you go. Oh, could you pass this to the back? Thank you. Okay. Now while you do that, let me just check. Everyone's here. 1, 2, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and the date is December. Okay, is everyone finished with that? Okay. Now, let me just see if How do you pronounce that? Okay, it's beautiful. I'll try to remember. But please correct me if I mispronounce it. Okay, good. I think I will manage. So let's get started. Okay, so you can go ahead and get your textbook and you can just follow along in it, but I do prefer that you take notes as well. At the very least, mark things in your textbook or make notes in there, but I really want you to be active during the lesson, so don't just sit and listen. Really try to take notes and copy what I put on the board and such. Okay? Perfect. Okay, so Dutch or Nederlands is spoken by about 24 million people in the world, so that's not that much. It is not one of the widely spoken languages. It's mostly spoken in the Netherlands, where it is the sole official language, and then also in the half of Belgium that is called Flanders. Okay, so Belgium is divided into Flanders and the Walloon provinces. In the Walloon provinces, they mainly speak French, and in Flanders, they mainly speak Dutch. There's also a little area in Belgium where they mainly speak German, but it's mostly Dutch and French. Now, Dutch is also spoken in some other countries due to a thing we call colonization. So it's spoken in Suriname, in Aruba, in Curacao, and Saint Martin. Okay. So Dutch is a Germanic language, and as such it is closely related to German and English as well. You can very much tell the similarities with German. They can sound very similar, and native speakers of each language actually can understand a great deal of the other language. The similarities with English are a little smaller, unfortunately for you, but a good thing is we do use the same script and the same alphabet. So what a wonderful place to start, the alphabet. Okay, so just like English, Dutch has 26 letters in the alphabet, and I'm going to try to fit them all on the board. You can take notes with me or follow along in your textbook, but remember what I said about notes. Okay, so I'm just going to write them down to begin with. can be facing all of you when I'm going over the pronunciation. Okay, good. Now, so at least that all looks familiar to you, and I'm going to go over the pronunciation. So I'm going to say the pronunciation of each letter, and then I'm going to have you all repeat after me as well, okay? But let's start slow. I'm just going to run you through the whole alphabet, and then we'll repeat as a group afterwards. Okay, I think that's better. Good, so we have A, B, C, D, E, and F. So at least the F is the same. I'm going to repeat the first row. A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay? He. That's a little bit of a trickier one because the sound is not really used in English. So that's one that beginners can trip over. So try to practice that one a lot from the beginning, okay? So that was he, okay? He. Ha, I, ye, ga, L. So again, we're ending with one that's the same, the L. So let me zoom into A and E for a second. That is also something to keep in mind. Those get jumbled quite a bit, obviously, because the E in English is pronounced E, but the E in Dutch is this letter, the I, which then is sort of related to A, which in English is pronounced A, which is the E. So those vowels get jumbled up quite a bit. So A, E, E. Okay. So the entire second row is he, ha, I, ye, ga, L. Okay. And then a little bit easier. M, N, O. So M, N, O. Not that hard. Then B, Q, R. Okay, so the R is also a little bit tricky because you're going to have to learn how to roll your R's because it's er. Okay, er, er. So the third row again, M, N, O, B, Q, R. S, T, U, V, W, and X, Y, Z. So A is also a little bit of a different one because when we're saying the alphabet out loud, we say A, but it's actually never pronounced as A when it's in a word. But we'll see that later on. So again, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Okay, so that's the alphabet. Same script, same amount of letters, but it does sound quite a bit different. Okay, so we're going to run through it as a group now. Okay, so I am going to say each letter and then immediately afterwards I'll repeat it and you all repeat it with me. Okay, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. We're all saying it as a group. I won't be singling anyone out to correct them. We're just practicing the sounds, okay? So just try, okay? So, A, B, B, C, C, D, D, E, E, F, F, G, G. Let's do that one again 2 more times. G, G, H, H, I, I, J, J, K, K, L, L, M, M, N, N, O, O, B, B, Q, Q, R, R. Gonna do that one 2 more times as well. R, R, S, S, T, T, U, U, V, V, W, W, X, X, A, Z, Z. Okay, good. So we all made our first sounds in Dutch. Thank you all for trying and participating. Okay, and let's move on. Okay, so that was the alphabet, the way we teach our children. Now, there is actually a very big difference between the pronunciation of short vowels and long vowels. There are also quite a bit vowel combinations and diphthongs. But, if we go into all of those right now, we'd just be making sounds all day. So I think it would be nicer to look at a couple of basic phrases first, okay? So that when you go home today, you do get the sense that you learned a few words, right? But don't forget to practice the basic alphabet as well. Okay. Good. So, basic phrases. You can turn to the page in question in your textbook, page 3. Okay. So, very easy start. We're going to begin with yes and no. Does anyone happen to know what these are in Dutch? Exactly, yes. So it's ja and nee. Ja and nee. Okay, so I think it's clear which is which. Ja, nee. So the next, we're going to look at some greetings. A greeting you can use at any time with anyone is hallo. So very similar to the English hello, but the E in English is an A in Dutch, and you pronounce it hallo. Hallo. Okay. So this is, it's not really formal or informal, although I would say that it's not used that much informally. People would say hey or hoi or something like that. But you can never go wrong with hallo. Okay. Now let's look at the equivalent of good morning, good afternoon, and good night or good evening. Okay? So good morning is Goedemorgen. So that one throws two of the G sounds at you at once. Goedemorgen. Goedemorgen. So this is one of the vowel combinations that I mentioned. When you put an O and an E together, you get the sound O. Okay? O. Goedemorgen. Good morning. So you can recognize these words, as I said, both Germanic languages. So that does help a little, at least. Then we have Huda. Goedemiddag. Okay. So again, throwing you in the deep end with the G's here, because this word shows you the second way to pronounce a G. When it is at the end of the word, it's not h, but it is h. So, goedemiddag. Goedemiddag. We call that a hard G and a soft G. Okay? So the hard G, goede, and the soft G at the end, middag. Goedemiddag. Okay? And then good evening. Goede avond. Okay? Goede avond. So we're going to repeat these phrases together again. Okay? Again, just try. I promise you I won't at this point be singling anyone out for mispronunciation. I just want you to try to make the sounds, to practice, and get familiar with them. Okay. So, ja, ja. Nee, nee. Hallo, hallo. Goedemorgen, goedemorgen. Goedemiddag, goedemiddag. Goedenavond, goedenavond. Okay. Good. So, something you may notice is that grammar-wise, and you don't see it that clearly with the way that I write, but in Dutch, most words that are combinations of other words are attached to each other. So where in English the rule is that most of these are separated by a space or sometimes hyphenated, in Dutch the rule is that they are combined, they are together. A fun consequence of this is that a Dutch dictionary is never complete because you can actually keep combining words that are really long and still correct just because there's so many words together to form one new word. So that's why a Dutch dictionary is never complete, and Dutch counts a lot less words than English just because all of these combinations aren't in the dictionary. So, but you write them together only if combining vowels at the end and the beginning of the two words. If that causes a problem, we either hyphenate or use an umlaut, the two dots on the letter. But in the case of goedenavond, that is not necessary because even though EA is a vowel combination in English, it's not one in Dutch. So E and A together, you will still pronounce both letters. so we don't need a hyphen or an umlaut here. It stays goedenavond. Okay. So I'm just giving you just a little bit of extra information along the way. All of that will be repeated at later times, so you can choose to forget all of that for now. But I do find it helps when I throw it in there, and then at a later date when we get to it, it might sound familiar or ring a bell like I've heard that before. Okay, so we're continuing with our basic phrases. The next is, how are you? Hoe gaat het? So that's hoe gaat het? How, and then basically, is it going? So het means it, and gaat is a conjugation of the verb to go. So this says, how is it going? Hoe gaat het? You could add met u. Met u, which is the with you. So, hoe gaat het met u? Okay. A reply to this could be goed, which we saw in the greetings. Goed, or het gaat, or something they say quite a bit is ça va, which is actually French, but it's very common in the Belgian dialect. Ça va, het gaat, it's going. Okay. Now, what's your name? Hoe heet u? Hoe heet u? Okay. Now, if you want to answer that, you can either say ik heet, or mijn naam is. So you can either respond ik heet Daniela, or mijn naam is Daniela. Ik is the Dutch for I, so important word. Ik heet. So in this phrase, you are saying, I am called. And mijn naam is. Then you are saying, my name is. Okay. So again, you can recognize quite a bit. My name is. Mijn naam is. A is not the Y from the alphabet, which I said A in the alphabet. And I made a little note that in words, we actually don't pronounce it as A. So this is not that letter Y in the alphabet. This is the vowel combination I, Y. So that's the vowel combination I, Y. Mijn. Okay? We have a couple more of the basic phrases to go. No, I just remembered we did not repeat those as a group, so we're still going to do that. You can look along in your textbook, okay, page 3. So it's not on the blackboard anymore, but you can follow along in your textbook, okay. So, hoe gaat het? Hoe gaat het? Okay. Hoe heet u? Hoe heet u? Ik heet. Ik heet. Mijn naam is. Mijn naam is. Very good. Okay, let's continue. So we are going to continue with the please and thank you. So please is alstublieft. And thank you is dank u wel. So alstublieft and dank u wel. So alstublieft is actually pulling together the words if it pleases you. Okay, so this is in one word, if it pleases you, which is the same in English. When we say please, that's where it comes from. So alstublieft, als het u belieft, alstublieft. Okay. And then thank you is dank u wel. Dank u wel. Okay. Now, you're welcome is graag gedaan. Graag gedaan. So, a lot of G's. Graag gedaan. Again, hard G in the beginning, soft G at the end, another hard G in the beginning. Graag gedaan. Graag gedaan. And then to finish, we're going to end with goodbye. Okay? So those are two options. Just like in English, we have many ways to say hello and goodbye in Dutch. So these are just two options to get you started. Dag, which is just bye. Okay. Dag. And tot ziens. Tot ziens, which means basically see you later, or until I see you. Tot means until. Tot means until. Okay, and then ziens. There we have another vowel combination, which is the combination of I and E, or in Dutch, I and E, and together they make E, the long E. Okay, so a short E is I, and a long E is E. Tot ziens. Tot ziens. Okay. Let's go over those together to end with. Okay. Alsjeblieft. Alsjeblieft. Dank u wel. Dank u wel. Graag gedaan. Graag gedaan. Dag. Dag. Tot ziens. Tot ziens. Okay. Well, I am going to leave it there for our first lesson. You were all very attentive and cooperative, so thank you very much. I look forward to moving forward with you and getting to know quite a bit of Dutch this year. So, by next class, I would like you to practice the alphabet and practice those basic phrases. So, practice the pronunciation. With your textbook comes a link to a website where you can listen to the pronunciation again. So if you're doubting, please do listen to the pronunciation that comes along with the textbook, because it's very hard to unlearn something. So if you go ahead and practice the wrong pronunciation of a letter, it can be tricky to turn it back. Okay. So thank you again, and I will see you all next week.